Welcome to Between Two Wheels, bringing you news and entertainment for everything on and between two wheels. I'm your host, Johnny Robalek, and joining me tonight are Justin Bird and Uncle Ken. This episode is being brought to you by Get Lowered Cycles, our trusted source for the parts and accessories our bikes need. Tonight, we are talking about Harley Davidson. However, before we do, next Wednesday, we will not have an episode. We will be out of town doing other stuff. And going forward, Mr. Justin will be a guest host. Something like that. So, So Justin is going to be more of behind the scenes and helping us with Project Clean Slate more, but spending less time on air and doing stuff with the podcast.
What's your job description?
Mine?
Yeah.
Officially?
Fucker in charge of you fucks.
A consultant. That's what I'll be.
There you go. You're a consultant.
Yeah.
So yes.
I'm about to have a baby, so I need to focus on that a little bit for a little while, at least.
Yeah.
I heard they're most easiest to die in like the first couple months, so I really got to take care of them.
I mean, to be fair, I've raised two children, and they're pretty fucking durable.
Be amazed at the shit you can do to
them. They're called bouncing babies for a reason. So that is the big thing. I received a very unique email the other day, and I want to go ahead and address it.
Uh-oh. What color bike do we offend now?
No. People think I've been giving the shocker whenever I talk with my hands. So I have something called trigger finger. It's a precursor of rheumatoid arthritis. My finger doesn't always extend. This one always extends, thankfully. But
that one works great.
This one, not so much. This one locks up sometimes. So if you're offended because I've been giving you all the shocker, grow a pair. So yes, I'm not intentionally giving the shocker. It's just a condition. So I said we're talking about Harley Davidson. It seems like we always talk about Harley Davidson. So what makes this episode different? Well, Harley Davidson got themselves in the news, and I want to talk about this. And whoever comes up with their naming for all of their pet projects needs to expand their vocabulary. So we're talking about hardwire.
I think they just use a random word generator.
I don't know, but it's hardwire. This is Harley Davidson's 5-year plan starting in 2021. Now, if y'all don't recall, back in the Q2 or Q1 earnings call, they talked about the rewire. So they're rewiring through December 31st and kicking off the new year with hardwire. It's stupid. But the part of hardwire that I really want to focus in on tonight is their marketing plan. Their social influencer plan. Harley's going to be partnering up with Jason Momoa again. Now, other than housewives who like to stare at Jason when he has his shirt off, who else does he influence? Here's the problem with Harley Davidson's marketing scheme. And I actually kind of put this into a list. Influencers are meant to influence their followers into purchasing something. However, I don't see Jason influencing anyone into buying a motorcycle. I don't think people are going to look at him and assume that, I'm going to be like Jason Momoa if I ride a Harley. no one would ever. Well, I don't know. What are y'all's thoughts on Jason Momoa coming in and being a spokesman?
Well, I mean, so right now he's like the next Rock, eye candy, who is trying to be an actor. Well, I mean, he is an actor. Obviously, he's getting paid millions of dollars. But the only audience that I see him potentially influencing would be in the Marvel universe as Aquaman. I mean,
sure, and I'm sure he can sell the shit out of some toys, and he can sell the shit out of a bunch of action figures and stuff like that. But we're talking about items that cost under $100 versus something that costs in the neighborhood of 4,000, 5,000 for a decent used bike.
True.
So I don't know, Justin. What are your thoughts? You're an influencer.
Oh, I just realized that my good mic was unplugged.
Oh,
okay. Hopefully that's better.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, that's much better.
Yeah,
I was wondering why it was so echoey on the last one, but I was like,
I don't think Ken has his turned on either. In his audio.
Right here. Do I need to be better?
Anyways.
Actually, what's the number on your...
Jesus.
Is it turned to number 1 on the back?
Oh.
There's a switch on the back.
Oh, now hold on, no, it's on number 3. That's what Roadblock.
It's number 1. Oh, don't use number 3. 3's the worst one. 3's for like recording meetings and stuff. Flip it to 1. Do it for me, Ken. Oh yeah.
Okay, I did it.
Listen to that. Oh, everyone in the comments.
Yeah.
Everyone in the comments, let me know how much better that sounds. I think the only win that Jason Momoa is bringing is the fact that, he does have millions of followers.
Sure.
So he is still casting a broad net.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they'd be lying if they said that it had nothing to do with attracting females.
Well, sure. So point number 2, Jason's a multi-millionaire. His net worth last year had him around $14 million, who's a 40-year-old dude. Now, luckily, he is a person of color. He's Hawaiian, so he's an islander. But his demographics aren't the 18 to 30-year-old motorcycle buyers. It's the 40-plus-year-old housewives who want to see him in as little clothes as possible. And again, not necessarily going to be motorcycle riders. And, it's one of those things where Harley wants to taunt their heritage and do all this stuff, but how do you go to a 40-year-old guy as an influencer when you don't want a surge in 40 to 50-year-old men to come in and start riding? You want the 18 to 30-year-olds because you need that group to sustain you for the next 10 years. So I'm losing track of how they're thinking this is going to work. And they can't say that he promoted sales because their sales declined. So I'm trying to figure out how the numbers and how all these pieces kind of line up. What do y'all think?
Your guess is good as mine.
So going back to the heritage part, they taunt it, but they're actually garbage at showing how their heritage has gotten them to where they are today. If you look at their lineup of motorcycles, other than the live wire, there hasn't been anything to really shock the market into coming over to Harley. You had a couple little niche bikes, the FXDR, and you had the V-Rod, but again, those 2 platforms aren't great to attract new riders.
I don't know. The V-Rod's pretty fucking dope.
It is, and it did well for a few years, but then it started dying off again. In true Harley fashion, they didn't
embrace.
Well, if you look at cars, Justin, you were a Trans Am guy. You have multiple generations of Trans Ams. Each generation had its uniqueness, and they had the changes that occurred each generation. Harley doesn't have that. If you put a 1960s Sportster next to a 2018 Sportster, the similarities, I mean, you could tell it's the same bike. There's no generational change.
The only one I can think of would be the Fat Bob. The 18, 19 Fat Bob, how different they were from 17 and below. But that's the only example in their,
and
however many years.
I mean, and the Fat Bob really gained a lot of traction. Like, it's really sold well.
Yeah.
From what I can gather.
I mean, even when they did the conversions over to Softail, I mean, everything looked exactly not exactly, but as close to the same as they could.
Yeah. So
I think that would have been a great opportunity to really just
go. This makes me look back,
direction.
In embracing, a bike that's out of the norm for Harley. It was like when they had the Rocker and the Rocker C or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Like, that was kind of a chopper-esque motorcycle, had a wild, paint job, but it was still.
But that bike,
exactly like the Honda Fury.
That was their competition. That's the bike that they were going after. The Honda Fury has sold significantly better. Obviously, the Rocker and Rocker C are no longer here. But that was a great concept. They were just a few years too late.
That's their MO. I mean, they're always behind.
Yeah. So I actually came up with a marketing idea for Harley, and it's for free. I'm giving this away, and I do know for a fact someone at Harley is listening. The heritage of Harley should have nothing to do with their stale motorcycle styling. It should focus on what has kept Harley alive for over 117 years. Their riders. How do you tie heritage to younger riders who don't care how long the company has been around? No, it's easy. You show a multi-generational family of riders who ride bikes styled towards their generation. You could have a father or a mother on a bagger and have a daughter and a son on Dynas or Softails, Sportsters even. But something in that line. Now, something to help them with the fact that they can't really market very well to women is show a mother who started riding because she wasn't supposed to be on two wheels. She raised her daughter to be free-thinking, rebellious, her own person. She also taught her daughter how to ride from a young age. Started on dirt bikes, like a lot of people do, and then just moved her way up. When it's time for that daughter to go buy her first adult bike, she purchases a Softail or a Livewire. There's a heritage story. And the key is you don't say the words Harley Davidson at all. You let your product sell itself. You have your product as a prop in the story. If you want to live and preach about how you've been around for 117 years, do that in a way that your product is helping tell the story. Your product isn't the story. So there's just an idea, but I'm just thinking the whole kind of storyline is you may have one commercial or one advertisement that's geared towards the mother showing the daughter how to ride her dirt bike. And you may have mom's Softail in the background. Don't say Harley Davidson. Just at the end, just pop up the bar and shield. That's all you have to do. Then the next side is the mom and daughter are out riding and experiencing things that motorcyclists experience. Again, what do millennials want? They want experiences. They don't give a shit about a lifestyle. Harley needs to get away from that. Show why people ride. That's the whole thing. It's just they need to stop with going through and doing the same shit. And we all know Harley has pretty poor marketing. So hire an outside firm to build this campaign. And when it proves to be successful, terminate the marketing department and hire people who were born after 1980 and stop renting A-list actors and actresses to sit on your motorcycle and find real riders who normal folks can relate to.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with that. And a good example of that is, so this last week I was watching the Steel Power Sports lumberjack shows, all about using an axe or a chainsaw or whatever. And Harley was one of the sponsors. And actually, in the, I think it was the 2017 or 2018 finals for the year, both the men's number one and women's number one, each of them got their own street bob.
Oh, that's cool.
So if you came in first, you got Harley gave you a street bob. But you don't hear about that and talk about some regular ass fucking people. 80% of the people that participate in those lumberjack games, that's their job, is they're in the lumberjack world in some form or another.
They do lumberjacking.
They do lumberjacking, I mean, whether they're driving trucks or cutting them down or what. But those are fucking regular ass people, and they want a Harley.
Yeah.
And Harley was all over, of course, the sponsors. The flags and flyers and whatnot.
Yeah.
But if you're not into that stuff, you're never going to see those people.
Right. Harley needs to really focus in on the actual community of bikers. They have Hog, but outside of boomers, no one joins Hog.
Hog was okay. Nothing against the people that are at the Hog here in San Antonio at all. They were all very friendly and nice, and I'm sure they're great people. But the only thing this Hog chapter did, aside from their pre-planned big events, you rode from the dealership to a restaurant 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and the ride was over.
Yep.
And that was it. Literally, you hung out at the dealership, had some coffee and whatnot, and then you rode to the restaurant for lunch, and that was it. That's why I went on 2 rides before I figured out this is all they do.
So the whole thing behind Hog, it is a marketing plan that the dealerships opt into. And if you think about everything that Hog is about, putting miles on your motorcycle, that drives up the services. Take it in, get your 5K, your 10K, 20, all that. And then they're putting you around a bunch of other Harley riders, which is great. You have that camaraderie, but you also have different socioeconomic classes in there. And this was planned.
Oh yeah. I mean, well, you look at when you bring up the age thing, they were all 30 years older than me.
Yeah.
20, 30 years older than me. We can't relate.
No, but you have wealthy people in the Hog chapter who can afford the more expensive motorcycles. Human nature has people lusting over things that they don't have. So it drives them to play keeping up with the Joneses. If he has this brand new bike, I need to go and upgrade as well. Oh, she just got a new bike. My wife has to go upgrade. It's all part of their marketing plan. It's actually the better part of their marketing plan.
Oh yeah, and I mean, and I'm sure it works. I mean, obviously.
It's funny because for those who don't know, I'm in the auto lending industry, and that, I don't know what you'd call it, phenomenon that you just said has a very discrete pattern on a graph. Sales on vehicles always have a small spike just after holidays. When all families get together, you get to see your brother's new truck, your sister's new car, the new RV, the new toys, and then boom. I mean, it's almost like clockwork. It's not a huge spike, but it's enough for us to get trends off of, and we always see it.
Yeah, keeping up with the Joneses. Now, the other side of that, too, is you get a lot of year-end bonuses that happen around that same period of time. Or are you saying it spikes after every major holiday?
Pretty much. I mean, the bigger ones like Thanksgiving, Christmas, of course, have bigger jumps than, say, Halloween. But we always see them like after Memorial Day, 4th of July. The summer ones are pretty hot, too. And that's across the board. I mean, that's cars, motorcycles, boats, RVs, everything.
So Tracy and I used to be very active in our hog chapter up in Dallas. And it was a great hog chapter. Very, very active. Every week we had rides. And yes, we were a ride to eat group. But
I mean, to be fair, aren't we kind of a ride to eat group?
We are.
I mean, we go on trips and stuff every now and then, but for the most part, we ride and eat.
Yeah. But
damn, my mic was muted. But we ride more than just from the dealership to a restaurant 20 minutes away.
That's true. We usually take an hour to 2 hours.
Yeah, I mean, y'all take the time to plan the route to where it's going to be a fun route. And then, we're going to ride from 8 or 9 until noonish.
Yeah. Stop
and eat. And then it may still take another hour to get back to our starting spot if it was like a bigger group ride, not just SOGs.
Yeah. So what they've done is actually beautiful with that, but they failed to bring in younger riders. When you have the director of your hog chapter who is, somewhere around 60 years old, 50 years old, how can he and his team that are going to be like-aged people, how can they relate and have activities around younger riders for things that they would actually be interested in?
They can't.
So
yeah, they just can't.
I think the same thing needs to happen with their hog group as what needs to happen with their motorcycle line, where we talked about like the Toyota Zion type thing, where you have another different group that is basically the same exact thing, just younger and hipper and cooler and lit.
Yeah, I mean, I see like when it comes to this, the thing that I noticed that is extremely lacking in the San Antonio area is bike nights.
Oh yeah.
That's across the board. Sport bikes, cruisers, period. There's no bike nights here, and we have a great scene for it. I mean, minus COVID.
The issue with organizing bike nights is a lot of these restaurants don't want the liability because and it's not just the legal liability. They're also taking risks from a reputation standpoint. If all these bikes are taking up the parking lot, their normal patrons wouldn't be able to get in as easy.
But see, that's an easy fix though here at least here in San Antonio.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we have 3 or 4 Harley dealerships if we wanted to, which of course that crowd is going to be Harley oriented, cruiser oriented. But still, I mean, you've got Cycle Gear. Most of those places close down that are around them. Most of them places close down at 6 or 7. Or even Alamo Cycleplex. Now, granted, they don't have a big property, but
they have bike nights there, though.
Yeah, but I mean, if they wanted, they could do bigger stuff. We got plenty of food trucks here. That's what's lacking here in San Antonio.
Yeah, it really comes down to finding people who are willing to dedicate time to organize those things. And no one wants that job.
I mean, look, it's honestly, organizing a bike night really isn't that damn difficult. If you can find a spot for everyone to go, whether it's, a motorcycle dealership or somewhere else, making phone calls ain't hard. And you can say, hey, you can call up a couple food trucks and be like, swing by at this time. It's really not that hard.
Yeah. I'm just, I don't know. It just kills me to see a perfect platform and they didn't invest in it and they didn't try to grow it to meet the market that they needed. They did it to meet the market that they had. That's the tough part. So some other news around Harley Davidson's hardwire is the refocus we heard about with the rewire presentation from last quarter. Now,
too many fucking wires, man.
Yeah, Jesus.
The damn wires crossed over here.
So here's what worries me. They seem to be falling back into the same old garbage that they did in the mid 2000s when they refocused on their core competencies. This is exactly what got Harley in the mess they are in now. They really, really need to stop trying to double down on really bad ideas.
Well, it's like a bad relationship.
Yep.
Like, it's not completely abusive. It's just not great. So,
And when it's great, it's like really good.
Yeah.
Y'all know.
That's exactly what it sounds like. Like, it's not terrible. I'm not being hit. I'm not really being abused. It's
So
not
the
great,
first time
though.
you feel something fuzzy down there, like,
Jesus.
That's exactly what it sounds like.
So part of this, they're talking about reducing the number of motorcycle models, which I've been pretty cynical about this. They don't have a lot of models. They just have a lot of accessory packages for a few models.
that's fair.
So
they only have 3 chassis or 3 frames?
Yeah, the touring frame, Softail, and the sporty. Oh,
Yeah.
no, and the street.
Fuck the
Oh,
street.
man, we're not going to count the street.
Well, that's a fourth one.
Okay, I mean, it's like the Coast Guard of the military.
No offense,
they
Nick.
didn't even bring them to demo days. Like, they weren't even on the demo day trailers. That's how embarrassed they are.
That Coasty joke's for Nick if he's watching.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we need to stop, and it's going right back to what we were just talking. Stop telling the world you have new models when they're just P&A upgrades to a basic bitch bike.
Yep.
Livewire, Pan America, Bronx, the Custom. These are the areas that Harley needs to focus, or let's say refocus. That's where their efforts need to go. They need to go capture that younger market. Still build cruisers and baggers. I'm not saying get rid of those, but do you really need 10 versions of the Softail? No. Really, and I'm going to bring it up, but they need to cut down their models and make it to where people can just custom order a bike.
Yeah.
And it still goes through your local dealership. But you can custom order it from the factory.
That's basically what Indian's doing, like with the FTR.
So
you want the base model, you can get the base model. If you want the tricked out with all the carbon fiber, you can get that. Do you want the scrambler version with the knobby tires and the bags? You can get that. That's pretty much, you just describe what Indian's doing pretty much to a T right there.
So like we said earlier, they need to start rebuilding their customer base. And, in business, you don't hear people say rebuild an entire customer base, because once you've built a customer base, it should continuously build upon itself. That's not the case here. Harley built a customer base and didn't grow it. So
Yeah.
now their customer base is literally dying off, and they don't have the resources those other customers feeding in. And that's what they need, because they have to start planning in 10-year increments. What is going to keep them viable for a decade? Don't come up with a bunch of stupid models and have them pre-planned for a decade. What do people want next year? That's what you need to focus on. Indian is doing it well. They are adjusting themselves. Honda has always done this really well. They know what their bread and butter is, and they know how far they can go in the exploration of other things. Harley hasn't figured that out, because the heavyweight cruiser market is no longer their bread and butter. They are getting ripped apart by companies who are actually listening to the customers. So I'm a big fan of a YouTube channel called Gears and Gadgets, and they put out a video about this yesterday, about the whole hardwire. And he has a lot more positive thoughts on the direction Harley is taking. So please go check out his channel. The title of the video is 2021 Harley Davidson Hardwire Rebuilding the Brand. It's always good to gain perspective, and I'm a very open skeptic of Harley. And I don't know what it is. I think when you love a brand, you get to the point where it's like your favorite sports team. You feel, why are we doing this? We. You feel like you are part of it, you know? And that's one thing Harley has going for it. It has the ability to make people feel like they are part of it. How many folks out there have a Pepsi tattoo, a Coca-Cola tattoo? How many people have Harley Davidson tattoos? I'm one of those retards. I have one, but I'm invested in the brand. So when I get pissy and go rambling off, when I start feeling like they're doing something stupid, that's why. I don't give a shit about sports, but it's the equivalent of whoever are Dallas Cowboy fans and have been so for the last 20 years, every single year since they won their last Super Bowl.
Which is 40 years ago, nearly.
God, I'm that old.
30 years ago.
Jesus. But, you know, it's just, I don't know. Maybe I'm just armchair quarterbacking a brand. But am I the only one that feels that way? Do you guys have brands, you know, outside of the sports teams, but brands that you feel that invested in?
No.
Not enough to get tattooed on me. That's
no.
for damn
I mean,
sure.
I've driven all sorts of cars and trucks. I have all kinds of different firearms from different brands. No, nothing that I would get nothing that I would get a tattoo of.
I would say the closest would have been, I wouldn't say Pontiac as a brand, but the Trans Am would probably be the closest.
Fire Chicken.
Yeah, the Fire Chicken.
Yeah.
Just because it was my first car, and then it was my first like decently fast car. So it was the car that I had during, you know, those fundamental years, the high school and college years. So I mean, there's a little sentimental value there, I guess.
Yeah. So this entire episode wasn't just about hardwire. I have a second topic of news. Harley has patented a variable valve timing system to go on a new dual overhead cam motor. For those who don't know what VVT or variable valve timing does, it is the process of altering the timing of a valve lift event and is often used to improve performance, fuel economy, or emissions. Okay, I'm hoping everyone understands how an internal combustion engine works. But just in case you don't, you have an intake valve and you have exhaust valve. Your cam spins, and as it does, it moves those valves open and shut. There you go. That's how it works. So variable valve allows it to shift the timing of the cam or when those valves are opening and closing. Does that make sense?
Go Google it, folks. You can get videos.
So a great example of VVT or variable valve timing is the VTEC motor from Honda. Now, in the Honda VFR 800, which has the VTEC motor, one of the intake valves stays shut until the motor reaches around 7,000 RPM, which then the motorcycle gets much smoother torque curve as that valve is now engaged. So, I don't know.
VTEC, bro.
It's just cool. And in a car, you got that kick of power that was noticeable. She should get into, okay, I know we're in a Honda Civic, 10 horsepower kick is massive.
I mean, hey, the VTEC's been a hell of an engine for a long time. I mean,
Yeah.
there's a lot you can do with it.
Oh, they're insanely powerful motors. And for what they do, they're great. But fucking lost my notes.
So let's see a sacrificial rook down there. He says, wait, the VVT patent docs I saw were for the Evo.
Except for the Evo's not a dual overhead cam motor. However, the Revolution Maxes,
Once again, they're like 5 years behind,
5? Just 5?
at least. I was gonna say the variable valve timing has been standard on a lot of the leader bikes for a hot minute now.
oh yeah. Yeah. Well,
They
but
said that's the hardest part about tuning Harleys to performance standards. Is it's basically like trying to tune like an old muscle car.
yeah.
I heard someone say that tuning a Harley is like trying to hold sand in your hand.
Yep.
Like, it can be done, but it's not easy.
So back to Harley, their VVT system was buried within their engine balancer patent and was filed in January of 2019. It took over 2.5 years for the patent to be approved. Do y'all know why?
Bears.
Because Indian had it.
Well, Indian Motorcycles also patented VVT technology 3 months earlier, October 2018. So,
I'm pretty sure they got it on the Challenger. If I'm not
yes,
mistaken.
I believe so. So, does this mean we will start seeing VVT on Harleys soon? Perhaps. Remember when I mentioned that VVT can assist with emissions? Well, European emission standards are getting worse.
Better, you
And,
mean?
well, yes, they're getting better for the environment.
Worse
They're
for
getting,
manufacturers.
yeah, they're making manufacturers do right by the environment. Not saying that's a bad thing, but Harley Davidson has to do something because of the Evo motor. So it hasn't been altered really since 1986. And it just can't pass emissions anymore. The tighter emissions in Japan is going to make the Sportster very tough to sell, I think, for model year 2022. And I believe the European protection, whatever, their EPA, I think that starts taking effect next year, or is that 2022 as well?
I believe it's 2022 as well.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, I believe they postponed it once or twice already.
So, with the fact that the Evo probably won't make it through emissions unless they can go and hire the engineers that Volkswagen had.
It wasn't the engineers.
Well, it was a software designer or software programmers.
Yeah.
Software developers. So,
God, that was so sneaky, man.
oh, it was brilliant though.
God, play by the rule books.
I lost my stuff.
I mean, fuck them for doing it, but you gotta play a recognized reel or something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, they're the ones that took the hit. If you were a customer that had those, you were coming out on top.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. So something cool, if this VVT comes into play and Harley doesn't shoot themselves in the foot by killing off their longest running model line, which is the Sportsters, this may be what goes into a new engine platform for the Sportster.
See, and I don't see the Sportster going away anytime soon.
No.
I just don't.
I can see them swapping out the motor. That would make sense. But with that new motor, you also get a water-cooled engine.
I mean, so I don't know fuck all about the Sportsters because I really don't care about them. But have they gotten the Milwaukee 8 upgrade type thing?
No, not even close.
I didn't think so. Like, it doesn't shake as much, et cetera, et cetera.
The motor that's in the 2020 is pretty much the exact same motor that was in mine. That I know of. I mean, they might have changed like the intake or something, but nothing major has been done.
They've changed some minor stuff, but yeah, no major overhauls like putting a Milwaukee 8 in it. Which
it's still throttled by cable.
Yeah, see,
that's how old it is.
And they need to obviously update that motor. It's a great selling motorcycle. So many people buy it. It's a great quote unquote entry level bike. But I mean, it's time for a real update on that model.
Yeah. Now, the question that when I was reading some of the articles around this, some of the questions like, oh, can we get VVT on the Milwaukee 8? No.
That's not how that works.
No. Never going to see it on Milwaukee 8. They'll have to completely redesign the motor to.
I mean, I guess they could.
Cam.
They could just reposition the entire top end, but at that point, that's not a Milwaukee 8.
Well, you're going from a push rod motor to dual overhead cam motor.
Yeah, so,
it's still a push rod, but
it'd be upside down. It'd be like taking the Milwaukee 8, flipping it upside down, and splitting it down the middle. Which, like I said, you're no longer.
Yeah,
that's no longer Milwaukee 8 at that point. At that point, they're just both made of metal.
Yeah. So the new Revolution engine that's going into the Pan America and the Bronx, we will probably see this in. And there's been a lot of opponents to VVT on motorcycles. The complexity that it adds to the engine as well as the weight. They don't say that the performance gains are there.
It's Harley. I don't care about performance.
I was going to say performance comes second to, meeting all your federal guidelines.
Yeah. That's going to hit you big.
Yeah. So Jay says M8 with overhead cams would be tall as hell.
Yes,
yeah.
It would.
I'd kind of like to see it though.
It would look a lot like the motor on the Africa Twin, the big one, the 1190 or whatever it is. It's got kind of a similar setup, but it's tall.
So Sacrificial Rook says you can absolutely put VVT on a push rod motor. Yes, I misspoke.
Oh, absolutely.
I misspoke. I was meaning from the bottom cam up to the dual overhead cam, but yes, you are correct. I don't know. I'm at this point, 3 months is still 3 months. They dropped the ball and didn't get their patent filed fast enough.
Shocker. A day late, dollar short.
But
And they got people that are, inside. They know what's happening.
That's their job.
Yeah.
they're business intelligence analysts.
Exactly. Corporate espionage.
But yeah, I don't know. At this point, I'm hoping we still get the Bronx. So right now, the only new model that's confirmed is the Pan America.
Yeah. And you're right. I really hope they don't stop with the Bronx. I mean, seeing it in person, it's a great looking bike. It looks awesome.
It's fucking cool.
And I mean, I realize that it looks like a lot of other bikes, but still, seeing Harley's take on it, whoever their designers were, I think they did a great job on it. And they absolutely need to not let this one die. And of course, they're bringing the Pan America next year. It's going to be released. It's already been confirmed. But they're behind. Again, here we go again. They're behind on the adventure side of everything.
Yeah. So when I listened to the call, the earnings call, it was they're wanting to expand their touring lineup to include adventure touring. Well, why now is my question, when Triumph, BMW, Honda, Yamaha, I mean, everyone has been in this game and it's been successful.
I mean, Honda kind of changed the game with the Africa Twin. That's how big that bike was when it came out.
Really changed the game. I mean, of course, Honda's known for their awesome off-road performance vehicles. It just is. But then the adventure side of it, you're getting a quality off-road capable vehicle. And of course, we always talk about, when you're getting a dual sport vehicle, you're not getting the best of both. There's give and take.
Yeah, you're getting a jack of both worlds, not a master of either.
Yeah, definitely don't try to take it on actual dirt bike trails like some idiots that we know.
Also,
he fucking took that thing to a motocross track. Did I tell you guys that?
I mean, he did it. He did it.
He took that 500-pound hefty motherfucker and went and spun laps and was jumping it. So
don't underestimate
more power to him, man.
Our little Latin friend.
And we've got video evidence, right?
Well, I've got a video of Brad. I don't know if I got any of Hasso, but yeah, it's
Hasso's in the chat. Hasso, did you get video of it? We need to see it.
I'm pretty sure he was recording, and I know Brad was too. So Brad was behind him for a little bit, so we could probably definitely get some clips.
Yeah, fearless. Now just think when he gets an actual off-road bike.
Yeah. Yeah, it was crazy. I rode Brad's bike around, which he has basically the same model as you do, Roadblock, but the Honda version. And we traded bikes for a while, and I got to say, I was shocked at how well that 230 handled a motocross track. It was a blast, man.
I just want a pit bike. That's all I want.
I kind of wish I had my pit bike that day.
Connors, you are right. Hasso is a secret badass.
He is, I would say he's the most, how can I put this?
And there's Hasso. Yep.
Yep. You can't underestimate him.
Brandon coming in strong yet another week. Harley Davidson's business model is to wait and see what everyone else does, then over-engineer something similar and say they did it first.
Except they don't. That is the business model that Facebook does. They bought Instagram and then turned Instagram into a different Snapchat, and now they're trying to do the same thing with TikTok.
Yep.
But they have a big enough grasp and a big enough team to actually do it right and do it better and then claim that they made it. Harley does not have that talent.
So I was perusing Harley Davidson's careers page, and the number of people they are hiring to go work in their Silicon Valley design center is insane.
I bet.
Yeah.
It's exciting to see it. And yeah, they are still investing in electric mobility vehicles.
That's the future, man.
And I watch and kind of keep up with a lot of the auto news, and a lot of these new EVs that are in concept and some pre-production models are incredible. And just seeing the changes and the advancement and how quickly it's advancing. I mean, we're not quite to the microchip advancement yet, but I could see that happening in primarily the battery side of EVs. I don't know.
Yeah. I think the battery market is going to take have a bigger benefit to electric vehicles than what we're seeing right now.
I mean, look, did you see the Nikola numbers? That new EV pickup truck? They got a $14 billion valuation.
I bet that pisses off Elon.
Now you got to have some competition, man.
He'll just try and buy it eventually.
Tesla and Nikola, you combine them, and you have the Nikola Tesla Motor Company.
Yeah.
No, Elon would never do that. He would call it Tesla Nikola.
He didn't invent Tesla.
Oh, duh, he didn't invent Tesla, but
he just bought them out.
Yeah, but that's his. Well, I don't know. What would you say is his most successful company? I think SpaceX probably is making more money than Tesla.
Yeah, hand over fucking fist. Everyone wants to be in that.
Well, the revenue, yes, but what would be the profit margins? I imagine they're pretty slim right now because of all the R&D they've had to go in and invest in.
Yeah, but think about it 10 years from now.
Sure.
I mean, they're already beating out Boeing and Lockheed Martin for space stuff. So I mean,
and the launch pad is in Texas. Now,
no, it's not.
Some of their SpaceX's
their
stuff
Boca
is.
Chica. That's a test site, though.
Bless you. Motorcycle Mick. Did you see his last comment there?
Trans manufacturer. Hi guys, my name's Harley.
No, I'm a girl.
Okay.
Damn it, Bernice.
Josh is coming in and says, so I've been looking at buying a new bike, mid-size cruiser, and I'm surprised by the lack of bikes. Yamaha, nothing anymore. Honda has one. Cowie has one. Is the whole market shifting to something else? What is a mid-weight cruiser for you? I mean, a middleweight cruiser would be a Sportster and the Street and the Honda Rebels and those. But outside of that, everything else fits into the heavyweight market, doesn't it?
I have no idea.
Like the Valkyrie and those bikes.
I've never thought of weight classes.
I would think it would be like Scout, the smaller soft tails.
Yeah.
And
that's about it.
I guess if I was to look at Harleys and think of a midweight cruiser, I would think of the Fat Bob, the Street Bob.
Yeah.
They can, they're more sporty, but you can still add the accessories to really make it a touring bike.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
would
see
say,
the heavyweight being the touring that you can kind of strip down for the
But-
middleweight, and then the middleweight can go either way, and then the lightweight, like the Sportster, can
the-
really only go to middle.
yeah, I mean, there's no tour packs for the sports.
No.
There's
I mean,
no
there is, but they're
they're few and
unusable.
far between. And even hard saddlebags on Sportsters, you don't see them. They're not common. Most people have the soft bags of some sort.
There you go. Middleweight is 500 to 900 cc's.
So yeah, that'd be the Sportster.
It'd only be the Sportster.
Well, I mean, in the
and the street, yeah,
both streets, and I'd still consider the Sportster 1200 in that area.
Yeah. So, and again, that didn't come from the person who actually posted that. That was Rick helping us out. Now, so when I think of cruisers, it's hard for me to go and rate them off of a CC, because a 600 cc sport bike performs very differently than a 1200 cc Harley. So
very much so.
Oh yeah.
So that's kind of what I look at. So Josh, come back to us. The metric companies seem to be getting focused on the naked bikes like the FZ07.
Yeah, because they sell like hotcakes.
Yeah, because everyone wants
a badass bike under $8,000.
Yeah, like a fucking serious bike.
Yeah, the FZ07 is no joke, man. Or MT07. Why they gotta fucking change it on us, man?
Yeah, so I don't know. I would say if you're looking for a middleweight bike, really try to focus in on, instead of the weight class, maybe look at what do you want to do with the motorcycle and how do you want to utilize it, and is it something that is a jumping off point to another motorcycle later on? Is this sort of a growth bike, or is it a long-term ride?
Yeah. I mean, that's always an important factor to consider. I mean, if you're just you want it for fun, it's going to be an actual recreational vehicle, then yeah, you probably don't need a $30,000 bike unless you're a fucking dentist or some shit.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, for me, I really like the naked bikes.
I do too.
SGS says the naked bikes are a dad.
I think he said he meant fad.
Fad. Oh, there it is. Yeah. Are a fad, though. They will move on. So how long?
Hang on.
How long does it have to go for it to be a fad and not just the trend?
A little Freudian slip with SGS there. Are you okay with your dad, man? I mean,
the dad will move on.
Did he go get a pack of smokes and never come back, or
he moved on?
I mean, did he just move on?
Yeah, that's a good question, because I mean they've been around for what, 5, 6, 7 years now.
Yeah, they've been. If that's a fad, that's a really
that's longer than a dynasty, isn't it?
Something, yeah.
I don't know. I think that the nakeds. I mean, when was the first Ducati Monster?
Oof.
Because
I want to say it was.
Hasn't that always been a naked?
I want to say it was early or mid to early 2000s.
Okay, SGS, we're just giving you grief. Don't have to yell at Ken.
25 years, 93.
So
really,
it's not a fad. That, I mean, it is its own
a
class.
naked bike, yeah.
It is its own class of motorcycle too. So I don't know. I would just say
that'd be a bike I'd buy.
Go jump on a motorcycle. If it fits you and you think it's something that you can ride long term. I mean, long term for me is a year, but if you can think 4 years. If it's something you can ride for 4 years, then that's the bike.
Or in Roblox's case, 4 months.
Yep.
Can I keep this bike long enough to change the handlebars and bitch about them? This is the bike for me.
So that Dumb Guy Productions, do you think Harley would benefit from making a naked style bike?
I mean, they kind of are.
Yeah, I mean, their Street Fighter is kind of like a naked cruiser, right?
I mean, a naked bike is a Street Fighter.
Yeah.
A Street Fighter is just a sport bike with the fairings taken off.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, that came from people wrecking their fucking sport bikes and getting tired
Or
replacing the fairings, so they just take it off. They called it naked.
Or stunt riders who didn't want to put their bikes down and mess up their fairings took them off.
No, stunt riders keep their fairings on, just build a cage around them.
Yeah.
Different.
Yeah.
God. Go to the
fucking.
All right. So let's go ahead and dive into tonight's closing argument.
Oh boy.
What was Justin's best episode?
Oh no.
Ooh.
There's a reason I didn't write this one down, gents.
I mean,
do you want me to kick it off?
I'm pretty fond of the ones that I was involved in.
Thanks, bud.
I mean, look, we got shit finished, man. Like there was stuff that never made the air that we fucking took care of business and got shit done, and the world will never know.
That is true. There has been hours spent laying down some solid episodes that never made it out of that room.
You're right.
A couple never made it out of this studio upstairs.
Yeah.
Because you don't know how to use your equipment.
Hey, I was learning it just like, well, y'all weren't even learning this stuff. I was learning this by myself.
Oh man.
All right, so we got some people in the comments already. See, Hasso says the Arkansas mashup.
Okay, so we're talking about the podcast. So
okay.
With the Arkansas recap?
I think that's what he meant.
Okay, there you go. Motorcycle Mix saying Big Ben.
All the trips.
Yeah,
the trip episodes.
I think the trips are cool because we can always tell stories and paint the picture that they can't see in the videos.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, like when we told the story, I don't know if we told the story, but if we told the story about Big Ben, about getting extremely hammered and then the process of actually wrapping Donnie's bike in,
oh my God,
in the cellophane.
Brad says he still has that footage and I need it.
Oh, he has it for sure. Yeah, for sure.
Oh, Connor's talking about peanut butter whiskey. I got a different one this week.
Motorcycle Mick coming in strong, saying Justin's B-roll is the best of any motorcycle content creator.
That's funny because I think my B-roll is shit. But I'm trying to get better, man. I've dumped a lot of money into gear lately, so hopefully I can get better.
So when I look at your B-roll, it looks cinematic. It looks professional. When other motorcycle content creators try, some of them nail it. Some of them
Chase
fail.
on 2 Wheels nails it.
Chase.
I know you don't like him as a person, but that dude pumps out content.
Oh, I don't have any issues with Chase.
I'm sure he's a great person.
His wife is hot.
I would never give him a wrench.
Yeah, but I would give him a camera any day of the week.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, look, I've seen what he is very, very good. And of course, and he spends the money on the cameras to go with it. I mean, like I remember watching him getting fucking bricks for his camera.
That was for his photography business. That wasn't even a video camera.
Twice.
Yeah.
He got bricks and rocks. Like I would lose my fucking mind when you're spending $3,000 on shit.
$3,000 camera, yeah.
And you get a fucking brick. I would lose my ever loving fucking mind. You see this? I know nobody's asked about this. GFC. Y'all know what this means?
Oh
Get
God,
fucked, cunt, and I will lose my fucking mind.
there it is.
So your fuck that guy of the night is whoever sent Chase on 2 Wheels bricks.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Tell that
fuck
guy.
that guy.
Tell that guy get fucked, cunt. Oh,
So Brandon's saying Ryan Fortnine does amazing videography.
Yes.
Well,
Yeah,
he's
he's
so-
up there as well.
Fortnine's production crew is amazing.
yeah, that's owned by. They're an actual motorcycle company that owns all that, right?
Fortnine? Yeah,
Yeah.
Fortnine is a brick and mortar motorcycle store.
Okay.
Oh, okay. I did not know that.
Something like that. I know he wasn't just some fucking YouTuber that just happened to get a.
He's an employee. He's not one of the owners. He is just an employee, and that's what his job is.
Yeah, no, I knew it was something along those lines.
Yeah,
He's not,
so they're
he's
very
not-
much like Revzilla.
yeah, he is not Justin. He is a company that is getting paid to put these out and so forth.
Yeah, if we had the kind of income to hire a production team, we could make some dope ass shit.
Yeah.
Well, could you imagine having a production company follow us on our trips?
Bro. We should pitch money together just to see like what we can get.
Oh, it'd have to be like Girls Gone Wild 1995 VHS, like
Whoever filmed that is what you're
whoever filmed it. Yeah.
the guys can still come out with the VHS tape fucking recorders that pop to the side. Oh man. That'd be great.
Fucking non-disclosure agreements and all sorts of shit for our trips.
Just have to get certain vaccines to be around the camera crew.
People don't even know how our trips really go down.
Oh no. I only
No.
capture maybe 10% of it.
Oh,
Well, so the other 90 you can't put on YouTube.
you couldn't make money off of YouTube. That's for damn sure.
Yeah.
There's
I
too
can have it on
much evidence
Patreon.
in there.
Maybe OnlyFans.
OnlyFans, yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna start an OnlyFans and just sell pictures of my feet. I'm telling you.
All right. So I'm going to wrap this video up with Motorcycle Mix comment. Between Two Wheels Gone Wild.
Yes.
And Hasso. I already plead the fifth.
We could sign some NDAs, get Haas's face blurred out.
There you go. But to everyone who has stuck around for the last hour, thank you very much. Thank you for tuning in. And again, for those who didn't catch it, next week we will not be having an episode. So please just put this episode and all of our other episodes on replay and let them just run.
Yeah.
On all your computers.
Yeah.
Yes.
Get fucked, cunt.
Jesus, there it goes. Thanks, guys.